Hi, my name is Mike Malzmoen with AFM and Engage Technologies. Today we're going to be talking and learning about the LX-150 sleever. There are going to be four main components to the LX-150 to set up and go over. The first component will be the LX-150 sleever itself. The second will be the unwind unit. The third will be the timing screw device. And the fourth will be the brushdown units. These four main components will comprise of the LX-150 and the sleever setup that we'll be detailing today. For the LX-150 sleever placement on the conveyor, it's important to have the unit drop over the conveyor. As you can see, there's an open front frame here, leveling legs and casters down there. We want to make sure that this unit is away from any kind of heat source, at least 4 to 5 feet. So from this side to the heat source where we have the tunnel, it's going to be about 4 to 5 feet distance. After we get the sleever placed on the conveyor, now we want to make sure that everything is level and centered. The point that we want to make sure that we look at is the mandrel, and that is where the sleeves are going to be placed onto the cans. So we'll wheel it over to the conveyor. It can drop over any running conveyor that you have, or if you buy an AFM conveyor, we'll have that as well. But we'll place it over the conveyor on the appropriate spot in the line. Look and see that the leveling feet are down. So we have 4 leveling legs down here. And we'll make sure this is elevated just a little bit. We'll come back and check the squareness to make sure that the sleeves are going on the product squarely, perpendicular. So the one point that we want to make sure if we open up is if you have the mandrel installed already, that you know about where to start on your center line. When I say center line, as you think of the conveyor, your product's going to run right down the middle of the conveyor. And that's your center line. We want this mandrel to be aligned with the center line so the sleeve comes down over. So we're going to look at this point on the mandrel to start out with our center of our conveyor. For the LX-150, to ensure that the can and the mandrel are aligned on the center line, we have a laser level to represent where the center of the mandrel is versus the center of the conveyor. So as you can see, laser lines up with the center of the conveyor where the products will be traveling. And that center line is going to be lined up with the center of the mandrel. That way we ensure that the label is applied to the container directly when it's over. A couple points for levelness is not only that the center line is here compared to the container, but also the mandrel itself is not skewed one way or the other way. So we can make sure that this is perpendicular to the running surface with the leveling legs on the machine itself. We could use a small level to make sure that the cutter is level. You can see in the center, it's in the center. So we'll check this direction. We also want to make sure to check the opposite direction. So in this direction, both directions, the cutter is level. It's important for the cutter to be level because the mandrel is going to be perpendicular going through the cutter. That way we can ensure that the conveyor is level as well. Other points of levelness are the rollers itself. So we'll look down here where you can see that this is level this direction. Then we'll move to the front of the rollers. We'll ensure that this is level as well. After the machine is level, we want to double check the conveyor to make sure that's level as well. So we're going to look at a level here to make sure that our running direction is level and square, as well as the opposite way. That way we can ensure the product is straight underneath the machine as the label is applied. So once the sleever is in place and level, the conveyor is good. Now we'll have to adjust the sleever head height. So here we want to start by first measuring from the floor to the top of the conveyor, and what this distance is going to be. This is at 34 inches. The adjustment handle for the head height is back here. So you can move the whole head up and down. So with the head height in approximate position, we can look at the label and the container size to start about a half of a label length away from the bottom of the mandrel to the top of the product. It's a good rough starting point for where the approximate head height should be for the sleever.